Hey everybody, welcome back to the Creatives Conversation.
Yeah.
I'm Amber. I'm the brand manager here at Helps To, the company that puts on this little podcast. And who are you? This big podcast. And who are you?
I'm Gabriella Martay, Gabby
Yes.
for short, and I am the owner of Helps To.
Yes, she is. She my boss. So anyways, we are like 25, I want to say, close to 25 episodes into this
For
thing
real?
already. Yeah, I just counted. I think this is the 26th.
That's crazy. I mean,
I
I know
know,
I own a
right?
company, but when you really, I'm all about delegating. So when I give something to somebody, I really don't know what's happening. I will
Yeah.
check in, but I don't know what number we're on. And
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
think actually this might be like the 27th, but it's somewhere in there. So we've been doing this for like a minute now. Uploading
minute, a hot
weekly.
minute.
A hot minute.
Yeah,
Uploading
we
weekly.
started, well, right now when we're recording this, it is the end of August, and we started in May. So May to June, June to July, July to August. Only 3 months.
Only 3 months. Yeah, but
crazy.
we've been doing it, so feels longer.
means
I'm just kidding.
By like this time next year, if we're on 25, we're going to be like 75 episodes in.
Dang.
Like at least
Yeah.
52 weeks in a year.
That feels like a whole TV show. Like on TV shows, they celebrate like the 100th episode.
Oh, we should do that. Like 50.
Oh, yeah.
75.
We love to celebrate.
100. Yeah,
We just celebrated our book release like 2 weekends
Yes.
ago.
We did.
And then your birthday last weekend. Happy birthday.
August has been a crazy month.
I know, right?
because, so my boyfriend's birthday is
August
the
1st.
and then on the next weekend, so that was the first weekend of August.
The
next
first
weekend
Sunday.
of August was our book release for Helps To and another friend's birthday. And then the third week of August, I ran a triathlon and I had my own birthday.
Yes, she did.
And this weekend of August is going to be a block party. And I have a friend in town.
Yeah, see, I don't do all that. I showed up to like half the things she just named, and I was just tired watching her do the triathlon. I was like, yeah, go Gabby.
I'm like really relieved after that happened. I'm not going to lie, but
It's over.
It's over.
Yeah, but
I'm a
anyways,
triathlete, by the
yeah,
way.
she is. So
Officially.
speaking of athletes, today we're going to be talking about creatives and competition.
Really good with those segues.
I know, right? I was like, ooh,
Speaking
that's a good way to take it. So we're talking about creatives and competition today. And I came across a really good quote on Instagram that came out during the Olympics that just really stood out to me, and it's about creatives and competition. So I'm going to read it real quick. It says, artists are not like athletes. We cannot win gold. We cannot beat other creatives. We cannot come first. Sport is objective. Our craft is subjective. Creating to be the best is a waste of energy. Instead, create to connect to the people who need you because they're out there. Create in your way because there's no right way. Take the pressure off and focus on your unique brand of magic. And I read that and I was just like, ooh, we got
magic.
right.
I
We
like
got to
that.
talk about this because I feel like, creating is more like sports come in a lot of different forms. Like you ran a triathlete. Well, ran is not the right word.
Triathlon, yeah.
She did a triathlon and that's like a more individual thing. It's kind
Totally.
of a competition because like
It is totally a
it
competition.
is a competition.
race.
That wasn't your mindset though going in.
No, I'm just trying to not die.
Finish it. Yeah,
Finish
right.
it. Yeah.
But which in itself is a huge feat. But like it's definitely a competition, but it's more of an individual thing. Everyone goes for themselves unless you're in a team, but that's a whole nother topic. But anyways, a lot of sports, are team sports and you're playing against each other and it's me versus you and there's a final outcome and it's obvious. Like this person beat this person at the race. This team beat this team at the game. Like it's easy to spot, it's easy to identify, and we all know who the best is, because you have state championship, for like high school football or whatever, or the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Or
We know who won.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's an obvious like this is the best probably in the world at this thing,
Yeah,
and the Olympics,
absolutely.
a huge example of that, in terms of like who is the best at running, who's the best at swimming,
Yeah.
And so with that all just wrapping up and feeling like, as a creative, like what does that have to do with us? Because I feel like the world so often is so fixated on competition and like who's the best. And like that's easy to identify, like I said, with sports, but it's hard to identify with creatives. So I just kind of want to talk about that and
I think
like
we need to talk about it.
what does it mean for us to just compete against ourselves as creatives and to grow and to be on our own journey.
Or to feel free to like not compete like at all, like just to make things,
just to do what you do.
Yeah, that move your heart.
Yeah.
Well, do you deal with this or
with
personally?
What specifically?
With the essence of needing to compete against others when it comes to creating.
This is funny because this is something that it depends on which topic we're talking about, because, you know, I grew up like taking piano lessons, which was very individual because it was just me in the lesson. And so I really didn't struggle with it there. But I also did band. And in band, like, we actually have competitions.
That's true.
And I played flute, and I tried out for like honor bands, which is like, you know, they pull the best from all these different schools and put them together in one band and do a show and all that. And that was very like highly competitive. Like people were intense. Like they wouldn't talk to you in the hallways. It's just dead silent. Everyone's like, I want to kill you. I'm just kidding. But like,
no, band was intense. I was
serious.
In band too.
Yeah. And
it was
so
too intense some days.
For real. And so, and it like really matters what chair you are and what position you are. And so like I went through that with flute a little bit, but like really with the main thing that I do, which is illustrating and creating art, I'm like really blessed that I don't deal with that mentally. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is, but I just have this natural confidence of like, I don't care if I'm the best at all. Like I've taken art classes with people who are incredible and didn't even struggle with comparing myself, because I'm just like, you know what? I create what moves me. I create what I need. I create like what my soul is speaking, and I, like that's enough for me.
Well, that brings up a good question in me, because I don't know, and this is truly a question. Just because you play an instrument doesn't make you a creative. Because the deeper I actually get into music, and I am a musician, a lot of you know that, you've been following, so you get it. I play the guitar and I sing, and I can actually play the keys and the bass, and I mean, they go on and on. But once you play one and you've been in bands, you kind of can fiddle with everything and help. And so the deeper I get into music, the more I realize it's really formulaic, like in the sense of if you want to be a great musician and play well with a band, there's a certain amount of theory that you probably should grasp to be able to do well, especially like with spontaneity. Like if you don't understand like keys, like what key are we in right now? When someone is like, hey, we're going left right now, we're going to play a 4 in the key of E, and you're like, well, don't know what that's going to do. Like, I don't know what that is. Like, so yeah, I find myself for sure there. And that's where my favorite quote comes into play, right? Like knowledge, creativity comes from knowledge, but just because you have knowledge with a creative tool, does that make you a creative? If that makes sense.
No, yeah, definitely.
Because like I can play the guitar all day, but I don't always create with the guitar.
Right.
And that's very real. And I think there's two different hats I put on. Like when I play the guitar, I'm looking around like, dude, that guy is way better than me. Or man, the way so-and-so plays this is like 8 out of 10, I'm like 6 out of 10. But when I'm creating a song, I really feel like it's just, there's nothing really to compare it to unless I'm trying to like recreate something.
Yeah, there's an actual threshold in music, like of being able to judge how good someone is as a musician. But when it comes to like songwriting, which is a more creative aspect, or like improvisation or something like that.
It's a different skill set, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Using the same tool.
Yeah, but it's like there's not really a scale. It's not measurable. Like, oh, you're good at, you know, X, Y, and Z. It is to a degree, because I've taken songwriting classes and been graded on songs.
Well, yeah, I think there's like some people have certain measurements about it. I think people would argue with us on that. I personally think if you're being creative, it just is what it is, you know?
Right. I mean, it is scalable in a way, like it is, or measurable, I guess you could say, your skill. But like at the same time, like if you're creating a song, like it comes down to like, did you create what you set out to create? And like, if so, then like you're successful in your own eyes, and therefore like should just be happy with it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Or if you really like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's where I really started as a creative, is like I really enjoyed creating music. And so as time went on, I learned about like what applies or appeals more to people. And naturally, like if you want to get through certain doors, I feel like honestly, like the higher the door, sometimes the more you have to kind of mold into what the door will allow to fit into it. Yeah. And so, you know, I've written songs that I'm not necessarily crazy about, but I knew it would open up opportunities, and then I could do what I wanted on the other side of that door.
Gotcha.
So, and I know that's not like, some people are like, well, it's selling out. Well, maybe it is to you. Maybe it is not to the next person.
Right.
Like, I didn't sell my soul to get into any door
No,
by any means.
and you still create what you
Still
want.
here.
Yeah, like
Absolutely. Yeah.
at the end of the day, like you have told me many times, you create songs that you wished you could have listened to.
Yeah,
like,
growing
that
up.
you like it was a sound that you were looking for but you couldn't find. So you created it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like that's not selling out at all. That's the opposite. So
Yeah,
even if you
absolutely.
have to do some music like covers and stuff like that to get attention online
or get
just
people to
radio
hear your
play,
music. Yeah.
Yeah, like then they find you and they can find your unique sound. So
That burns so bad. So I get played on the radio in LA. LA, Phoenix, like all like Southern California area, Nevada, Arizona. Which is great, but I get played for a cover.
right.
I'm like, if y'all want to just play my song right quick so I can get paid.
Get the money from it. Right. No
I'm
kidding.
cool with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like anytime you're ready, I'll gladly
Yeah.
send you something.
So that you don't have to give like half of it to the original
I
artist.
don't get any of it.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
The
a
way,
bummer.
and I did a video on this. So if you're a musician watching and you're interested in songwriting, I did a video on songwriting royalties because a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
But songwriting royalties, half goes to the publisher of the song and half goes to the writers of the song. So the singer and the performer gets nothing.
Nothing. Wow.
Yikes. It's really sad.
That burns.
And except for people coming to find me on YouTube and saying that they've
Yeah.
been wrecked by the song.
Yeah,
Like,
YouTube
Amen.
will still
Bless you.
cut you a check, so
That's true. Well, if it's someone else's song and they recognize it, they will give it to them.
oh, still?
Yeah,
What
to the
about
songwriter.
Spotify?
Yes, same.
Wow. Okay, y'all. Go listen
It
to
pays to be a
Martay's
song.
originals.
It pays to be a songwriter.
Right,
That's why
no
when people are
kidding.
like, "You want to sing my song?" No, I don't want to sing your song. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna sing my song. Yeah.
Unless it leads people back to my song. Yeah, songwriting's
Yeah.
where the money is at.
No, that's true. Yeah, definitely.
Anyways, so how do we as creatives like stay out of this competition? Well, I think what do you think provokes it? Number one, and then like how do we come out of that?
I think largely like society provokes it because there's always this idea that there's someone that has to be the best. And we're always looking to judge and assess that. And I just think in the creative arts, like I can go to an art museum and look at something that someone paid millions of dollars to hang in that museum. And I can be like, that's ugly. I would like, that's
"Nah,
not
it's okay."
good. Like I do
It's a
not
no
like
for me,
that.
dog.
Or I can listen to the song that's like top of the charts for that week and be like, I don't like this.
Yeah, I've
So-
heard some songs I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, some really popular songs that everyone else is like, yeah, this is it. And I'm just like, not for me. It's a no. But like, that's just what it boils down to is like, it comes from, the societal idea that there always has to be a number one or always has to be a best. There's always competitions in every category. But like, really, everything is preference.
Yeah, it
And
really is.
with the arts, at least, because like when you think about sports, yeah, there is someone who's the best that swam the fastest in the Olympics, but like there's not someone who paints the best if you have
If it's
one
subjective.
Yeah, if it's subjective, someone looks at it and they love it, and another person looks at it and they hate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like that's just. But I'm not an athlete, so I feel like you might have more of an understanding of like the objective versus the subjective because you've competed in basketball
I have.
and now a triathlon, like so you kind of have what is your take on it, like in terms of like being an athlete but also a creative?
Yeah, I think being an athlete is super formulaic in the sense of, I played a lot of basketball. Maybe I think I played basketball for 12, 15 years or something, competitively. And and traveled the nation and stuff. And that was awesome. I'm so glad we're done because my body is like, no more, please. You're welcome, body. But yeah, as a basketball player, there's just really fundamentals and it's very formulaic, but at the same time, you do have to be creative as a basketball player, and that's what really can distinguish you. But another thing that I really struggled with as a basketball player is my creativity didn't always match what my coach's preferences were creatively. And when I say creativity on the court, the fundamentals of getting the basketball into the hoop, you can't really be creative with that. There's
Right.
you need to,
There's
there's
a
a
way to
certain
do
way to
it.
hold the ball, a certain way to dribble the ball, a certain way to cross someone over, and to play your position.
And that's definitely your strength versus mine, because let me just tell a really quick side story. We went bowling recently.
Yeah.
And Listen,
We
y'all.
went bowling.
I don't know how to bowl. Like, I could bowl a 30 and be happy. I'd be like, I did something. I knocked some
I'm
pins
not the
down.
one. I'm
And
not
she's
happy
over
with
here
that.
bowling like 150 or something. I
Which
don't
is
know.
still low because
Well,
bowling is out of 300
out
points.
of 300, yeah. But considering you don't do it all the time, like,
No, I
it's
don't.
pretty good. So, like, we're out here bowling, and Gabby is killing it, and I am struggling. And she's just giving me these little pointers. She's like, now, Amber, cross your right foot behind when you do it, because it'll help balance you out, and like make sure you finish, like go all the way. I don't know how you
Like
said
follow
it,
through.
but follow through. Yeah, follow through with the
It's all
bowling
about
ball.
the follow through.
And I'm telling y'all, my score dramatically changed when I started taking that advice. I was just like, wow, she really knows like the formula of bowling. Like she knows what it takes to like get some pins
Well,
knocked
there's
down.
fundamentals, right? Like
Yeah.
in most things. And I would even say, like, we're using music as an example because we're both musicians, and that's something we're really like knowledgeable in.
Yeah.
Always can grow, right? I haven't reached my peak yet.
No.
But I will say
Me
there's
neither.
fundamentals that especially in sports, more so than creative pursuits, I would say personally, that if you follow them, you will do well. Like
Yeah.
following through when you're playing basketball or bowling is incredible. It like will help you. Your percentage of making a basket or like knocking down the pins will go dramatically up like crazy.
Yeah.
So
No, it
yeah,
makes sense.
that's why I was like, hey, just make this one little change. And it
Right.
literally is the smallest change. Like,
Right.
you know, even in basketball, like when you're shooting, the moment, like a lot of people shoot the ball and they hold both hands, like, and do this like double handed follow through. But if you really do make a T with your hands, like I was taught, and then come up and let your right hand, or if you're left handed, shoot, and then point with your middle finger, it'll dramatically increase the amount of baskets you make. Like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
And
mean,
just flip your wrist.
all-
This is the moneymaker right here. Y'all see this?
flick of the wrist.
Every time. Right here. Flick the wrist. And then you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well, and I mean, there are foundational things like that in art too, and you know, music and all of it.
Yeah,
Like,
like
you know, you
playing
gotta
the
learn.
guitar. For me, you need to know the keys.
Oh
music.
yeah,
like
you need to know how
it's
to
really
play
hard to be
chords.
creative. when
Yeah.
you don't know what you could be creative with.
Yeah,
you know your
skill-
paint set.
Right.
Sorry, I keep talking,
skill. No, you're good. Skill definitely comes into play when it comes to creative stuff. We're not saying like just do it and have fun and it'll
keys
be great.
of music are like you need to know what colors look good if you're going to be painting a
Oh
farm
yeah,
picture.
you need to
Like,
know shading. You need to know, you know, color wheel, color, complementing colors and all that. Like there's a lot of foundational
it's a
stuff.
framework. But I think
Yeah.
the difference between sports and creativity is like I think creativity there's just like a knowledge of framework, and if you don't really know the knowledge to have a framework for like what is a certain style or whatever, it's going to be hard to create it.
Yeah.
But there's not really like a way to do it.
Yeah,
Like, once you're in the
exactly.
framework within the territory, if that makes sense,
You can do it
kind of
however.
go whatever you want.
Mhm.
Like, but
You can be like,
the minute
well-
you step out of the framework, it becomes a different piece of art.
Right.
Yeah.
No, for sure. So, yeah, I think like there's obviously a big difference between the two, you know,
Oh, yeah.
competitions and like sports and athletics, especially versus creating.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, like what advice would you give to creatives who are struggling with competition?
I think it's like a lot of soul work that you need to do. I think competition really, like this is, even as an athlete, like I became okay with losing because I could, like when I became, let me speak my words here, right. And when I became okay with losing, it's not that I ever wanted to lose, but when I did lose, I wasn't bent out of shape because
Yeah.
I could disassociate my identity from being an athlete.
That's really
I
good.
wasn't only an athlete. I knew I could
Yeah.
go home and like my parents saw me as a daughter. I knew I was an artist. I knew I
Yeah.
was like into like music. I
And
had
you
all these
knew
other
that
things.
you still knew how to play basketball at the end of the day. You didn't have to go home and be like, well, I should quit. I suck at basketball because I lost.
Yeah.
Like, but that's like learning how to lose well, I think, is not talked
Well,
about
and then
enough.
learning to be honest with yourself. Like that
Yeah.
triathlon, I was fourth from last. Now, those people came to kill, and that's fine, right? Like they
Most
were
of
really
them, it
well
wasn't their
practiced.
first triathlon.
Yeah, like this
so-
one guy was like, I do like upwards of like 10 of these a year, and this is
Wow.
probably my 50th. And I'm like, well, that's cool. Like, I'm a beginner. And so
First time.
I finished with a good time, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like these people are well versed in it. And I'm like, okay, reality check. If I'm going to stay doing triathlons, which I probably won't, but like, I don't know, you might see me in 3 years. Like, I'm doing a triathlon. But-
Honestly, knowing
yeah.
her, it could be.
could be. But right now, I'm cool off of it. But
Yeah.
the reality for me was just if I'm going to stay in this sport, I'm going to have to get better because I don't want to be last.
Yeah.
And that's just the real truth. Like, I don't want to be last.
Yeah.
Mostly because I just don't want to be last. I think that's okay.
okay.
I don't need a reason
you can
to
have a
explain that.
goal. You don't
Yeah.
have to like.
I'm not cool with being last. I don't need to be first though. And so, but
Sure.
like, I think for people who have that desire, like, I want to be first or I want to be one of the best. Honestly, I don't think it's bad. Like, I really don't think it's bad.
Yeah.
But if you really struggle with just creating and not like being free with it, free to just do it, then like I would search your heart, search your soul, whatever you want to call it, your mental health, I don't know, and really see like why are you so gung ho and hung up on like having no freedom and on needing to beat someone? Like, do you have to prove something?
Yeah.
Like who? Like, you know, some people can fixate on one person or one like project that happened and like never let it go. I got to be like this. I got to be like her.
Yeah.
Him, whatever. And I think in their minds, that person has something that they really want that is really, it's a lot deeper than art.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, that's definitely true.
So, yeah, has attention that they want, has money they want,
Yeah.
a life they think that they want. So, yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. And I think one thing that I found that helps me as an artist is like, I really create for myself. And I know there's times where I actually like, you know, someone pays me to create something specific and I do exactly that. And that's not for me per se.
Right.
But like for the most part, when I'm creating my art that like most people see and that I share online, like I'm doing it for me.
Yeah.
And so therefore like it's a release for me. I'm like expressing something that's never been expressed before. And I'm using like just a lot of emotion is being poured into it and a lot of my soul and a lot of like just processing is going through, like I'm going through mental processes while I'm painting and creating, and it's like really relieving for me. Like if I'm really stressed or struggling, I'll just be like, I'm gonna stop what I'm doing and go paint something, because it really does help. It's really therapeutic, and it's like, and in those moments, there is no competition in my mind. There's no like, I need to be as good as this, or even I need to be as good as I was, because, you know, sometimes I compare myself to like how I used to draw and like my old style. And I think, oh, I used to be better because I was in an art class, so I was doing it way more often. But like in those moments, I'm not worried about that at all. I'm doing it for me. It's a release for me.
Just doing
and
it.
The fact that other people benefit from it and enjoy it is just like coincidental. And I'm like, that's great. But this was really for me. Like selfishly, I did this for me, not for y'all. But you still get to see
real.
it.
All my songs come from like a journey that I've been on.
Right.
I will say, man, it's hard because we're in an era of like influencers. And so a lot of people are, I'm just going to be 100 here, a whole buck.
She about to say it, y'all.
A lot of people are picking up crafts and stuff just to become an influencer or to become famous. And I just remember when there was an era when that just wasn't a thing. Like, and I was probably like really young, but like the reality is like a lot of people want to become great. And I think that's a really natural desire to want to become great. But yeah, it's really gonna be devastating if you do a craft for 10 years, 15 years, and you realize you don't like it. But the one thing you were after the whole time was really to become great. Yeah. And so I think you can become great with anything, but like the reality is like, do you want it to be that art form or that creativity, that in that kind of like whatever you're doing, like in the sense of creative stuff. But like, if you really don't like it, like, I just pray you find out before 15 years goes by. Like, what happens if you never become great? Yeah. Like, in your perspective of what great is.
And you just wasted your time on it. Like, yeah, that's why I honestly really do the things I'm passionate about. And I learned how to play bass, but I don't love playing bass. And so people ask me if I'll play bass for them. And I'm like, honestly, no, sorry. But like, I'm not going to spend the time and effort, you know, to...
that's a good point.
To like really pursue that. If there's other areas I want to pursue harder, and like I can put all of my energy into that instead of spreading myself thin between all these things because I thought I wanted to do it, but then it turns out I don't. It's okay to let it go.
It's okay to try stuff. Yeah. Try it. Don't like it. LIG.
Yeah. LIG. Let it go.
LIG.
Yeah. We're gonna make a t-shirt. LIG. Half of it will go to Carlos though, because he's the one who says it all the time.
Yeah.
But like, if Helps You produces it and he like created, you know, it's a partnership, so we get half, he gets half. Come on, Carlos, give us that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
He's not even here.
He's not here. He'll watch this.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Send it to him.
Right. But yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
So any more advice for just creatives who really struggle with like competition?
Yeah. I would just say like, know that your art has value even if it's just what you created for you. Like I've created so many things just for me, like especially like in times of prayer and things like that, and God will speak to me and I'll paint it and people are really moved by it. And I'm like, I didn't think anyone would care because I thought this was just between me and God or like just me and my process that I'm going through. But like he really like God really uses it and people are touched by it, you know? And so like don't be afraid to like show the stuff that you do that's like just for you because you don't know who's gonna be touched by it, you know?
Yeah, I think I will say this, and I think your quote had something about this if you pull it up.
Yeah.
But I'll wait till you pull it up. What did it say? It said create to connect to the people who need you because they're out there. Creating your way because there's no right way. Yeah, and so that's one thing I realized actually this week is that it's so easy. I mean, am I an influencer? Am I not? I don't know. It really depends on the person who's looking. But the reality is a lot of people follow me. And I think a lot of them followed me initially because I am me and I'm doing what I do. And so I noticed that when I like create things, not necessarily different, but like I copy someone else's mold of how something should be. Or like I don't get as much just like feedback from my crew. And so my listeners and my followers, it's just weird to them because they're like, this isn't really you.
Yeah.
And they have a good just, and not to say I can't try anything new, but and I do. I'm doing a ton of new stuff right now, but they know when it's really just not my vibe. And so I think, I think you need to stick with who you are. And like at the end of the day, what do you like to do? It's okay to try things out.
Yeah.
Figure out who you are and why you're doing it. I think you'll be totally set.
Definitely.
Period. Yeah. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
That's it. Simple as that, man. I just want to say if you have a craft and you're struggling, you're discouraged, be encouraged because nobody has your voice. Nobody has your fingerprints. Nobody has your brain and the way you see it. And I think that in itself is all you need to keep moving forward. I totally believe that no matter what you do, there will come a day where you really strike gold in your own fashion in the sense of really influencing people the way they need to be touched. And so it might be 2 people, it might be 50,000 people, but I just say don't give up, man. You just do not know what's around the corner and how God wants to use it. So yeah, that's it.
That's it.
All right. Well, you're watching the Creatives Conversation. Subscribe, get to know us, and honestly, we got some fun stuff coming out. Our web developer and I are working on a product, and we just came out with our book.
Yeah.
It's physical copy. There's probably a link in the bio or the description, of this video if you're on YouTube.
Yes.
And then if you're on the podcast app, come to our website, helps2.com. So our book is out, and then hopefully by the end of the year we'll have our next product out, and I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I just can't hide it, and I know.
She's still going. Anyways,
I know.
Okay, well,
I know. I'm so tired. I love y'all. See you later on the next podcast.
By the way, this podcast is brought to you by the Rubedo family. Can we get our live audience, to come on through? Come on over and say hello to the audience.
Our live in studio audience.
Yeah, our live in studio audience. We aren't shooting this
Samuel,
alone.
my favorite friend.
And Sophie.
This
is Andre's kids, and we love them.
Our videographer's kids. Yeah. Put them on blast. We do love them. They always sit in, not always, but a good portion of the time, and they're like, they can't talk because we're talking.
They're so quiet. Like, how many kids do you know who can sit still for that long? That's all I'm saying.
Do you want to say anything?
You want to say hi to the people?
Hi. We love you.
Love you guys. All right.
All right. We'll see you in our next podcast. Bye, y'all.
Bye.